Yes, I'm sorry, I messed up using the wrong channel. And I will change the title now. Thank you for coming so promptly. It's very gratifying. Hello, Conops. Hello, self-hating Jew. The evil eye is actually a Jewish idea. And I have a vague memory of them, of reading somewhere that they also talk about evil spirits. But the evil eye is a really fascinating idea, but an interesting philosophical idea. The because it's quite hard to explain, but I'd like to try. So the evil eye is what you get when you arouse the envy of people around you who want the thing that you have, and often people are lacking in self-awareness, shall we say. My mother has an instinct to not boast about things. I've actually just asked her where she got the idea from, and then she said, "Well, you don't boast about things because it only arouses envy." And this is basically what the concept of the Ayin Hara is. That you try to avoid arousing the envy of the people around you, but I'll also know from experience that there are people who actively want to arouse the envy of other people. I mean, I have a girlfriend who says that her husband likes her to dress up in sexy clothes so that he can have arm candy. And I remember thinking whether it was a good idea. I mean, apart from, modesty reasons, do you want everyone to know how sexy your wife is? But then that'll just make them want to have sex with her. Maybe you do want to arouse their envy and make them want to have sex with her. But then they might try and they might just succeed, and and there goes your wonderful relationship with your sexy wife. And, or any other possession of, your luxury car, your new villa, your successful children. Perhaps it's this is a kind of Western thing. People will talk about their children and say, "And I have 4 beautiful children," and on the one hand, it's all right. Is it all right to be proud of your beautiful children, or even boast about them being beautiful when they're not particularly beautiful and only beautiful to you? But I think the instinct to boast is indeed to make others envy you and your possessions and your attributes and those of your beautiful and successful children. But then, when you do these things, you are, in fact, consciously or unconsciously arousing envy. And why do you do that? Why do you want to be envied? You want to be envied because you want to acquire a status above them. That's why you want to be envied, in the way that kings and billionaires and successful people are envied. I'm afraid I don't know how to turn up the volume. Thank you for wishing to hear me a little better, but I'm sure the playback will be better. So the evil eye is it's something that you can consciously or unconsciously arouse. And maybe you need to make other people envious of you to show your superior status over them. There are other ways of doing that. Of course, you can be rude to them to assert your status, to remind somebody that maybe their children aren't as successful as yours, or maybe their accomplishments are beneath you. So there are many ways of arousing the evil eye, but I suppose we can remember, we can remind ourselves not to be boastful. That's, of course, a sin if we're old-fashioned enough to think in those terms. If you have a child that is boastful, you should seek to discourage it. But the desire to be boastful is natural, because we naturally want to benefit ourselves. We want to be higher in status to other people, and children would, if uncorrected, would want to boast about their new toy, or whatever that they're proud to have. So the Ayin Hara can be unconsciously activated, and those who lack self-awareness would be triggering the Ayin Hara all over the place, particularly celebrities, because they would understand, if they have any inkling of human nature at all, that to have something that somebody else wants is to arouse envy. And this could set in train a chain of events that could be personally disastrous for you if you arouse enough envy. Then you will have aroused enough hatred. If you've aroused enough hatred, you will not cause people to do things that might hurt you or harm your interests. And therefore, having self-awareness would stop you from doing that, because you would think to yourself, if you instinctively feel envy when people boast about the things that they have that you would like to have, then you would know not to do it yourself. Or you might, if you were not a very nice sort of person, you might want to do it yourself to others, to boast about your things, to make others feel small and deprived. And of course, in a society that operates on consumption, and particularly conspicuous consumption, you're going to arouse a lot of envy by having the latest thing. And of course, suppliers of goods and services would want to encourage demand and desire for these enviable goods and services that they hope the customer will boast about, in order to encourage more customers to want this enviable service and good, or object of desire. So and this can lead to, it won't just be purely materialistic. We can think of enviable goods, but what about enviable services? I think immediately our thoughts think well, veer towards sex? What kind of enviable service would you like from your girlfriend, your lover, that you can boast about that you were provided with? And doing that sort of thing will obviously lead to depravity, degeneracy, unwanted pregnancy, STDs, that sort of thing. We can boast about our friendships, our experiences, our holidays. Is it acceptable to boast about our great wisdom and great knowledge? That doesn't seem to be particularly, what's the word? Enviable, really. I mean, you can be as clever as you like. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to be clever because, well, they don't value these things for some reason. And the thing about knowledge is that, once you boast about your knowledge, you immediately share it. So maybe the envy levels of people envying you for your intellect and your wit and your whatever is lessened by even talking about it, because you are sharing it. What if you are immensely charming? Well, and even so, you might, because of the person who might otherwise envy you has enjoyed your charm, your company, your wit, then somehow that lessens their envy of you. But as we can see, creating a culture of envy is creating a culture of hatred. If people envy you for your great memory, your great wit, your great charm, what they might do would be to emulate your charming, witty, wise and winning ways. And so you would tend to create a better world just by having these enviable personal attributes. It is envy in material things that would be so dangerous, I think, because qualities in a person that you envy would just create the desire to learn, to acquire it oneself. And so I shall finish by saying that these motivations that make us express certain that make us say certain things is caused by, well, instinct, I suppose. You're pleased about something, you talk about it. And if you talk about it in an unself-aware way, then you could set in motion a chain of events that might end you up dead, or being robbed, or being on the receiving end of other people's evil eye. So this idea of avoiding the envy of others and also forbidding oneself from envying other people is actually, well, you know where it comes from. It comes from the Ten Commandments. So in Judaism, the idea is that you don't envy, and if you do, if you catch yourself envying, then you stop yourself. You know it's a sin, it's a thought crime. Envy is a thought crime. And the more sophisticated development of that idea is the evil eye. It's like, yeah, okay, you're not supposed to envy other people, but how about being enviable? And so there's the, added prohibition. Don't say things that will make people envy you. Don't do things that will make people hate you, and then you provoke the evil that you would wish to avoid. That would be very foolish, and that's a kind of arms race of virtue, I suppose. And it comes from Judaism. If you read the Ten Commandments, there's a lot about envy. You're not supposed to envy somebody else's mode of transport, or his wife, or his servant, or anything that is of his. It's the repetition, the similar category objects that you're not supposed to envy that reinforces the point. I don't think any other religion does that. Of course, it doesn't stop feelings of envy, but at least it warns us of the dangers of idly wishing to arouse the envy of others.